Happy first birthday to the wedding tea. Let's go. Now, this couple had an intimate wedding planned on a rooftop at a restaurant. And when I say intimate, they had less than 40 guests that were going to be in attendance. This couple was not big on, pomp and circumstance. Like they didn't want all of that flash and that fluff. They just wanted to get married, and a beautiful young couple. So I had the honor of being a part of the planning team, the DE team. We planned, we coordinated, and the couple had also asked me to officiate their wedding. So I was definitely honored. Going to do double work this day, but again, it was intimate, it was small, so I wasn't too stressed, all right? We were not going to have a wedding rehearsal because they decided that they would not have a wedding party. The bride checked into a hotel in the downtown area, and I had told her, well, since we're not going to have rehearsal, and I know you've got some things that you're going to be doing wedding morning, I'll come down to the hotel that Friday evening, and I'll grab the wedding items or personal items, and then you can also hand over the marriage license to me so that I make sure that it's on site on wedding day. So I called the bride in advance of heading downtown just to make sure she was back at her hotel and everything was well. And she was like, Desiree, I need to let you know something. I'm like, okay, what's going on? She says, yeah, we don't have our marriage license. Sweetheart, the wedding is tomorrow and you don't have your wedding license. Now listen, if you've ever dealt with the DE team, or if you have watched some of these past episodes of the wedding tea, you know that 60 days out, I send an email to all of our couples letting them know that it is now time to get your marriage license. Pre-COVID, I just gave them the addresses and they had to go ahead down there and set their appointment. Post-COVID, I also now include a link because you can fill out the information in advance of going downtown to the clerk's office so that it makes the process move a little quicker. I did this very same thing for this beautiful couple. Not a single notation, not an email, not a text message, not a phone call did they ever tell me they did not get their marriage license. So now I am downtown face to face with the bride who does not have her marriage license. I said, sweetheart, what do you want me to do? Because the wedding is tomorrow. Yeah, it's tomorrow at 4:00 and it is now 3 something. And yeah, you don't have the marriage license because let's make it plain and simple. Even if you were to get it within the hour, where's your guy? He's got to be with you. She shared with me that they were still having some issues, some things that they needed to hammer out when it came to their prenuptial agreement, and that had not been signed yet, and so she was not willing to actually marry him tomorrow. I said, oh, okay, so what would you like me to do? She said, well, I'd like you to perform the ceremony. Please, we've got these guests coming. Some of them have come from out of town. Please perform the ceremony, but it's not going to be authentic. I was like, okay, I could do, listen, whatever you want. I said, then what is going to happen? She said that once everything was hammered out with the prenuptial agreement, they would give me a call and I could marry them for real and go ahead and sign the marriage license. To make a long story short, I did what was requested. I handled that ceremony. We handled that wedding day, that ceremony and reception just as we were supposed to. And no one was wise to the fact that while I am standing up there officiating this couple, I am actually not marrying them. Yep, didn't marry them. And to be honest with you all, they never contacted me after that wedding day. So I still to this moment do not know if they are actually married and was that prenuptial agreement signed. I wonder what happened to them. But yeah, I have married some couples before that had already been married, but I had never married a couple that did not have their marriage license. I guess that was the first time. Hopefully the last. So this story I'm about to share kind of pissed me off. Let me just be real about it, okay? This was years ago in my planning. I want to say probably around 2011, 2012, somewhere around there. And this was a DIY couple. I remember this story fondly because of them being a DIY couple. They had done pretty much everything themselves, from the centerpieces to the invitations, you name it, anything that they could put their hands on, they pretty much did it. They were having their ceremony and reception in the same location, a very nice location. And they had worked it out that they had people who were going to deliver the flowers. They really were working their friends and family, giving them specific assignments on how to get things to the venue so that we, the DE team, could set whatever that was up. Well, I discovered that when we are now breaking down the inventory list and kind of going through the final particulars, she did not have, and she, being the bride, did not have someone to pick up the wedding cake. I said, okay, well, is there a friend? I mean, have you used everybody? Somebody needs to go grab this wedding cake. Or let's just be honest, why don't you pay to have a delivery service or have the cake design company deliver the wedding cake? That's the safest thing to do, especially if something happens to this cake. They can repair it, and no one would be wise to the fact that there was an issue. Well, she said that I needed to go pick the cake up. And I'm like, that is not a part of my contract. I am not a livery service. She says I needed to go pick up the wedding cake because she had used everybody that she possibly could, and what was she paying me for? So I had to break some things down to her. And I said, listen, dear, first of all, at that time, I drove a car. Okay, so where was I going to put this 3 or 4 tiered wedding cake? To be honest, I can't remember how tall the cake was, but I know it was at least 3 tiers. I said, where am I supposed to put this 3 tiered wedding cake? And I says, I am also going to have to drive this cake to the reception location. And if you're in Chicago, we got bumps on the streets. We got, what are them, speed bumps? We got potholes. You name it. There is some issues when it comes to driving in the Chicagoland area. And you want me to put a cake in my car where I don't have anything that's flat. I can't put the cake on the seat. I could put the cake on the floor, but again, I got to drive the cake there. I said, you want me to do that? And then when I get to the venue, I now got to get this 3-tiered cake out safely, get it inside of the venue, and put it on the table. Oh, I forgot, unbox the cake and put it on the table without any damage. And she says, yeah, that's what I need you to do because I don't have anybody else to do it. I said, I ain't going to be able to do it. Boo. I'm not going to be able to do it. I said, because I'm going to be the one responsible. I'm going to be the one liable for this cake. And if something is wrong with it, if there is a dragée that has fallen off of the cake, if there is a fondant flower petal that is broken, or if there is a dent in the buttercream, you name it, I'm the one who's going to be responsible for this. I says, I can't do it. I cannot deliver your cake. I will not deliver your cake. You have to find someone to do that. I said, and let me know who that person is going to be. I'll make contact with them and discuss with them what time they need to be there. I left it alone. And I was very adamant and very serious about, I'm not going to pick up your wedding cake, boo. That's nowhere in my contract, and it's not something I'm going to do. Had it been a box of cupcakes, maybe, but I'm not going to get a wedding cake. Anyway, she says, oh, okay. Like, she got on the phone with me a little attitude. I remember this. She had like a little attitude, and maybe I said it probably the way I'm telling you on this video, but it is what it is, okay? I continue to move forward with the business, with the planning that needed to be done, paperwork, all of that. I reached out to the photographer just to ask him a couple questions about the shot list for that day, making sure that we had the specific moments that this couple was interested in, make sure that he had all of those moments, okay? He informed me that I had been fired. I said, what? He said that I had been fired. Now, how you gonna fire me, photographer friend, and I ain't got, and the couple hasn't told me I was fired? Come to find out, a couple days, I guess, after this conversation, the bride decided that she didn't want to work with me anymore. She didn't inform me. She hired another planner/coordinator and convinced that woman to go pick up that wedding cake because the photographer shared all of this with me. Yeah, y'all, I got fired and didn't even know. I guess my bluntness was just too real for her. To be honest, I don't know if the cake ever made it to the wedding, and if it did, I don't know if it had a damn dent in it or not. After I discovered that I was quote unquote fired, I reached out to the bride. I said, hey, I'm just checking in to see what's going on. It's my understanding that there is another planner involved that is working with the photographer who I just reached out to me. I said, is there anything that you'd like to share with me? Of course, that email went unanswered, but I could see that it was read. It's all good. She had paid in full, so I didn't really give a damn. That's cool. I didn't have to pick up the cake, and I got paid in full not to work on that day. I was winning. Anywho, yeah, that was that story. Still kind of a little irritated about that. Want me to pick up your wedding cake? Girl, bye. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time on The Wedding Tea.